phone to ring, waiting for someone to tell you everything.
The travelling Wilburys were Nelson Wilbury, Otis Wilbury, Lefty Wilbury, Carly T. Wilbury Jr. and Lucky Wilbury. They were half-brothers and all sons of Charles Truscott Wilbury Sr. Now, Lefty once said of him, "Some people say Daddy was a cad and a bounder, but I remember him as a Baptist minister." As a band, they existed from 1988 to 1991, and they released 2 albums. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Travelling Wilburys Volume 1 by the Travelling Wilburys, which was their first album and released in 1988. It is not my first time listening to this album. And before anybody jumps on me in the comments, and feel free to jump on me in the comments to tell me how wrong I was in my introduction about the band, I was playing along with a fiction that was made up by the members of this band. That background that I gave was made up not by me, but by them. So the Travelling Wilburys were, in fact, and they did adopt these names for the album, but they were, in fact, George Harrison of the Beatles, Jeff Lynne of ELO, Roy Orbison of famous Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty, which is an amazing collection of guys creating what some people have said the ultimate supergroup, but other people have said not a supergroup at all because they pretended they weren't themselves. So apparently what happened was that George and Jeff were working on George's album. Jeff got quite a lot of work as a producer later in his career. And they got talking about a fantasy band and who would they invite. So it would be those two, and they got to choose somebody each. One of them chose Roy Orbison, and one of them chose Bob Dylan. And then, with various circumstances, it basically became a thing. And somehow Tom Petty got sucked into this madness as well, and that he happened to be around at the time, I think. And I think madness is a good name for it. There's a certain sense of humour to the whole thing. And they were just obviously doing this for the fun of it and the love of it and putting something together. And I don't know if they actually thought they were going to get away with pretending that they weren't themselves, because they obviously are, and everybody knew about it. But they did kind of all the packaging apparently on the album doesn't mention them by name at all. Pop rock is a good description here, and there's a strong acoustic guitar bass. When I hear the acoustic guitar production on here, I very quickly think Jeff Lynne on here. So he became known for this kind of style of production. So apparently the process was the guitars were recorded first and then other stuff was overdubbed and added. It may be that there are in fact 5 acoustic guitars going on here at any point in time, maybe not quite so many of that. George was effectively the leader for this. Jeff Lynne was mostly the producer, I think, and the songs were written as a collaborative effort over quite a short period of time, and then they shared out the vocal duties. Now, apparently, they had to audition for each song, and then George would decide whose voice suited best for which bit. And they often kind of interplay between each other, and there's quite a variety of voices here, which makes it work quite well as well. So there's an extra fun dimension to it. And you can tell I'm kind of almost laughing at times here. It's just because it's a fun album. It really is. Most of it's quite boppy pop rock. And apparently this is quite unusual in the landscape at the time, which was dominated by the rise of hip-hop and electronic stuff. And the multiple acoustic guitars has led people to talk about it in a skiffle kind of sense. And I can kind of hear that, but not all the tracks are like that. It is an overwhelmingly positive, happy, and full album. Even the slightly dark ballad "Tweeter and the Monkey Man" is done very firmly tongue-in-cheek. So sadly, excuse me, I'm not laughing about this bit. Sadly, it was very shortly after recording this album that Roy Orbison died very suddenly. They did release another album, the 4 of them who were left. So I really like it. It's just well crafted, happy pop. It's not consequential, but it's not totally fluff either. It's got some substance to the songwriting. Most of these songs could be 90s comedy TV show themes. It's got that kind of feel to it. And as I say, I love it. So that's what I think of this album. I'd love to know what you think of the album and of the Travelling Wilburys. So please leave me a comment. But that's it from me.
Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and I've been shut down.